Justice League 58 is Endless Winter Part 5. Andy Lanning and Ron Mars writing once more. Zermanico is the main art in the book because he's been doing Justice League anyway, along with Marcus Santucci once again doing the flashback art at the start of the issue. So, obviously, art was probably going to be great in this one because it's Zermanico. And
it's Zermanico. Man, the 1-2 punch of Santucci in the beginning and then going into Zermanico, like, what did I do to deserve this? This is fantastic.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be really well intriguing. Every time it comes back to one of these flashbacks, it feels like it's nicely paced throughout the story as a whole. So basically, they've got a bunch of refugees, and they're trying to secure them in this city, put up walls. Black Adam stayed behind to fight the Frost King, and
he's such a jerk.
I know he shows up,
Black Adam.
And he throws a hand that he's ripped off of one of the ice monsters over his shoulder, or whatever. But basically, he says, "No, I basically put some thought into who he was. I asked some of the other refugees from the town who he is, and discovered that he has a family. So I left his wife and children there to distract him because it might break through to the human emotional part of him."
But that's like putting the conductor of the runaway train's family in front of the train, just in case he'll figure out before it hits them.
Yeah, I absolute madness, and it's funny. I love the smirk on his face as he says, "I did what was necessary," because it's when they call him a monster. Oh, Frost King's not the only monster out there. He's like, "I did what was necessary." He's just sort of smirking. But Hippolyta and the Viking prince run off to try and save the family.
Go save him.
Because why wouldn't they?
This led me to do a little bit of research about Viking Prince, and just basically they summed it up perfectly here that something has happened to Viking Prince that Odin has cursed him that he can never enter Valhalla, right? So he's kind of immune to all weapons, which is a nice little take on here, why he's being able to hold his own against these ice creatures and stuff. And maybe that has something to do with Wonder Woman going forward now, right? She's in Valhalla, and
very possibly
we have Hippolyta there and all that stuff. But yeah, just could such a jerk.
Could it be there's enough planning right now that there's actually seeds being sown for things that aren't directly connected to it from the get-go?
Maybe.
Could be a thing. But yeah, so they get there and they stop because they realize that it's actually kind of working. Like the Frost King's slowing down, and it seems like he's recognizing his family. And just as maybe he's about to be broken through to, that he's going to find his humanity, Black Adam flies in and punches them and stops it from happening. And that's the cliffhanger for the flashback here. So we'll leave that there. But
he punches him into a glacier.
It's kind of a darkly funny ending. I laughed a little bit at the end of that. I'm not going to lie. So we come back to present day, of course, and it mentions it's John Stewart narrating because he's the main character here in this Justice League issue. But he mentions that all the Justice League are all split up doing various things around the world, and he's helping a family try to find their father / husband.
Right. He works in a factory,
Star Labs factory, I think specifically.
Star Labs factory. Yeah. And when all this happened, they got separated, so the mom's leading the children. So he goes and finds the dad, which is real nice.
Yeah, anyone else who's left. I like the small Christmassy touch. He makes a sleigh with reindeer with his construct.
Which is real cool. And he surrounded the central train depot in Michigan with his energy. But what's cool is because he's an architect, he realizes that this building is real strong to hold up to the elements, right? So even without his protection, this is a good place for people to be, which is a nice touch for Jon Stewart. And again, Ron Mars and Lanning really leaning in on the character aspects here.
Well, Justice League issue. Because it's a Justice League issue, and we knew that obviously the main chapter at the start and the end were the whole Justice League. I was wondering who this would focus on. It's kind of nice that it focuses on Jon Stewart rather than some of the other characters. Detective Chimp's at the Hall of Justice, and he's just kind of like watching the screens and keeping an eye on everything. But it's not long until, because Black Adam and the various villains and anti-heroes that he's assembled in Kandak are fighting off frost monsters. But it's not long before the Frost King seemingly has arrived at the Hall of Justice. Turns out later, of course, to not really be him. It's just an ice construct of the Frost King. But
which again, when you look at the art in the last issue, how full of life it is compared to this one, where he looks like one of the ice monsters, but it's a nice touch.
Yeah.
You know, so if you read these back to back, you kind of get the vibe like, oh yeah, that's not really him. But
yeah,
still.
I like the small touch that the constructs that John makes to like shovel the ice monsters that are around him are giant green snowmen. Neat touch. But it's not long before the Justice League show up. The team show up, minus Aquaman, but Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, and Flash all show up.
You want to guess what my favorite line in this whole issue was?
Oh, was this about Barry saying that we all get here quickly as long as someone picks up Batman?
By somebody, I mean me. I pick up Batman. Again, that's a very Wally West, Justice League Unlimited vibe, but I'll allow it for now because I did enjoy that so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, some very nice art here. The battle's good. There's a moment where John actually has a giant green axe and sort of slices the fake Frost King in two. Very pretty stuff. Chimp feeling a little bit out of place at the Justice League roundtable. The rest of them are debating what to do with what's going on. And then the final page of the issue is Frost King saying, "I've found them." And we see a panel of the people that we saw frozen in ice from last week's issues, seemingly confirming that this is the family, which was your guess at the time. So, neat ongoing stuff. I like how it was just the page at the end of the last issue of Aquaman that we just talked about, and then a page at the end of this one is just because we're getting these in the same day and because they're coming weekly in chunks. It's actually okay to paste these reveals like this where you're just getting one page at the end sort of furthering his search for someone. Oh, someone's the family, which was the teaser at the end of the last week's last issue. It's very neatly kind of just progressing at a very enjoyable pace. So
definitely.
A key detail key detail that was mentioned throughout this is that the ice monsters do seem to be, and this is probably tied into him looking for his family, seem to be attacking various labs, Star Labs, Stag Industries, other places like that. And of course, we know it's Stag that has them, so that makes some sense.
And that's what I was just going to point out too, is that there's a method to, because Detective Chimp and John put together that they're attacking all these scientific facilities, and that it can't just be random. So that was a nice little seed there. But no, this is one of my favorite, like, I don't want to call it an event, but like a crossover story that I've read in a little while. It's just, it feels nice to read.
And I think part of that is because it is just this one team of writers who are writing the whole thing. Yeah. So there's a very strong consistency to it throughout all the parts. So yeah, and I mean the art is very good. The fighting with the frost monsters and John gets some big moments. Some of these constructs are a lot of fun. And the flashback arts has been consistent throughout all the books. What are you giving Justice League?
So I'm going to give this one an 8.5.
I'm just going to stick to the solid 8. I think that kind of sums up my feelings on this crossover as a whole. I
really like the Zermanico art in this one. Just his layouts just are really good. Like when they fight the Frost King, I love the way that he breaks up the panels, but it's all part of one image almost. Like just the way that he does it. And he does that a lot in the stuff that I like. So yeah, Zermanico really put it over the top. I'm
okay with Chimp being featured prominently recently between Metal and then this and whatever. So
it's like they forgot they had this really fun character that can comment on things until 2019. So yeah.